Welcome, Stitchy friends. So glad to have you here. If you hear noise in the background, that's what it takes to work from home, and my husband's in meetings, so sorry if you hear that. If you need some coffee, grab it, because some days we just need that. It's still morning here, so yeah, definitely need it to get myself moving and going for the day. So first thing, I wanted to say hello again to some special Stitchy friends. I know I haven't done this for at least a month or two. Life has been crazy, and this past month has been no different, but I did remember. That's the important part. Okay, I wanted to say hello to Rachel again. I know I've said hello to her before. She commented on my last video, so I wanted to say hi to her. She's, I believe, in Southern Oregon, or kind of closer to Southern Oregon. Deb, hello Deb from All the Stitches. She's my wonderful friend who lives in the Portland area as well. Loves to buy my bags and my little floss files and whatever, and special friend. I love chatting with her. And then also to Milken, I believe is what she said her name was. She's Mega Stitches. She commented that because I had mentioned that I'm going to be going to StitchCon, which I will get into, that she hopes to see me. So hopefully we will meet up and see each other. It's always interesting to, as much as you see people and you might see their faces on videos or their pictures from their Instagram or whatever, that trying to, once you see them in real life, it's like, is that the person? Is that the person? And then connecting with them. Not to mention remembering everybody's names, which is not going to happen at all. I'm terrible with names. I have a very hard time remembering names. So yeah, I hope we meet up too, and big hello to you from me for this video. With that, I'm going to show you a quick little video here. Why does seeing all my grass growing make me feel so happy? There's some more on that side that's already grown in pretty well. And this side was planted about a week later. It just makes me so happy that it's growing. I have not had all the best success at growing things from seeds, but this is doing great. Yeah, I am growing my grass. I'm finally getting that edging part done. We had that that concrete sidewalk put in the fall, I believe, last fall. And I did put a little bit of dirt to fill in next to the sides. Not nearly as much as what there is right now. But I put a little bit of dirt on the sides to try and, not leave a big gap there. But I didn't really get to more of it until now. And so I've had to fill up, get it a little more level with the rest of the grass, plant my seeds. And the one side has a much bigger strip of new grass that I'm growing because it's a little bit higher than the cement, and so I needed to kind of make it more gradual. I couldn't change the whole lawn to be the right level. So in order to get it to be workable near that sidewalk, I had to kind of make a more gradual slope to it. Otherwise it would have been like this, and it never cuts right when you do the mowing. It just looks odd, and it would have drove me crazy. So I went ahead and made a much wider section there that I had to put in grass. The other one was probably only about this wide for the other side of the sidewalk. So it's little things like that that just make you so happy and glad that things are working and you've tried so hard. There's nothing more frustrating when you put in so much work and things are just going completely downhill. They're not working at all. Which, as I mentioned, I don't do well with planting things from seeds. I've tried to do it with garden stuff, vegetables, and the only thing I think lettuce does really well. Other than that, I usually have to buy plants that are already started if I'm going to do a garden. So, very happy. Part of the reason that it has been pretty successful is we have had so much rain because the key to growing, especially grass, I'm not sure how much like vegetables and stuff, but I think kind of the same line of thought for it, is that you have to keep the seeds wet. So if you're trying to grow grass when it gets warmer and drier, you're constantly, like, multiple times a day getting out there and watering it thoroughly, like letting it really sink in to get to the seeds, because you can't let the seeds dry out. And we have had so much rain. Obviously, I didn't know this in the last video, but for the month of April, we broke a record for rain. The last time it was, high was in 1940. That was the last record. And so now we have broken the April amount of rain this year. And May had started out looking like the same thing. In fact, our rivers are still a little high. We're starting to get some nicer weather now. It's starting to stay drier, and I feel like I'm a farmer part of the time because I haven't gotten this video out quite as soon as I wanted to. I think it's been almost a week later than I personally had wanted to do. But I have to keep looking at the forecast. It's like, okay, well, it's sunny right now. I have to get outside and get stuff done before it rains again. And then when it's raining, I may have to go to work or this or that. It's like one thing after another. Like a farmer, get out there when the sun's shining, get things done. So it kind of puts other things aside and you can't get to them. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You gotta do it. Okay, let's get into some stitching stuff. Yeah. Okay. I usually show you each time I do a video what I have done on my butterfly. It's the temperature butterflies. Here, by Stitching Mommy. So this is, as you can see, each little section is a part of the day, or a day temperature for that month. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because I talk about it all the time. So let me show you what I've done. So here you go. As you can see, something's missing, which is the colors for May. I have January, February, March, April, and I haven't touched May because of some other things I'm going to show you that kind of monopolized my time, and I didn't really want to get to, I needed to get those done. I finished the little teeny tiny butterflies, and if you watched my last video and saw this, you know that those are the temperatures for Orlando while we were on vacation in April. So I put those in clearly much warmer colors. So that's what that is. When I go on vacation in June, I will do the same thing for that area and just kind of keep adding to whenever I'm gone for, if I was gone for like a day or something, I don't think I'd do this, but I gone for, close to a week or more, then I'm probably going to add those in. And I think they're charming. They're really cute little niches to the to that whole chart. So it's really cute. Really cute. Let me think what else I have showed you before. Okay, the next one that I've showed you before and I've got progress is this one, When Stars Collide. This is Carolyn Manning Designs. I have sorry, got a frog in my throat. Yuck. I have worked on this a lot because, with getting lots of things done, doing lots of projects around the house, and you're gonna hear some of the stories of what's been happening. It has monopolized my time, and so when I go to sit and stitch, by that point in the day, I want something mindless and doesn't take a lot of thought process, a lot of just fill in color and go for it. And so that is why I have worked on this probably more than I normally would have. So here is what I have done so far. So I've gotten quite a bit done. Let me see if I put it over on this side. Quite a bit done. There's still a lot more to do. So let me see if I can see where I am at. On this chart, I'm kind of working over here. So I've done all of this kind of this row area here, and I'm kind of coming up here and kind of working across now in this area. So as you can see, this is probably about the halfway point for the height. So I'm not halfway done yet. But that's what I've done so far. Love it. Love the greens and browns. Sometimes I wonder if I'm going to get too bored with the monotony of the kind of the similar colors, but so far it's been fine. And I think I may be a little busy these next couple of weeks. We'll see how busy I end up truly being. And so I don't know if I'm going to be working on a lot of other things or not. We'll just have to see. It's going to be whether I just keep working on that and not working on as many other things. I do want to touch other things. It's not like I only want to do that. It's just how much other things will I get to. That will be the key. Okay, now I showed you the progress on this other thing here, and I actually finished the stitching and FFO'd it. Let me show you the pattern. It was this one. So Blackberry Lane Designs, Tools of the Trade, Part 3. Apparently there was other ones. I don't know. I did this one in red for myself with the size that they recommended. So you can see there's lots and lots of different things on the stitching. I needed to make a smaller one. So I found a smaller dish, but then I had to kind of tweak it to what I could fit within that space. I believe it said to use maybe like that might have had a 5-inch opening here. I think total it's longer, it's bigger than that. It might be closer to 8 or something like that. But I had one that was about 3.5-inch space for stitching for the diameter. And so I had to pick out things that I was going to use to stitch on there and make them kind of fit, you know, in the area that I'm working on. So this is what I did. I changed the color up, obviously. And I cannot find where I put the thing for the thread, so I can tell you what thread I used. I might have mentioned it in the last video, but I don't have it here. So I did all this. I've got my initials and the year up there. I also, let me cover my head up, made these pins to put in there. So they're the colors, the beads underneath the little flowers and whatnot are, they work well with this particular color that I'm using. And it's got a lovely design on the dish down here. All 4 sides have this faint pattern on it. So love it. It is so cute. So cute. So yeah, I was finishing that up. So that took a little bit of time. The thing that monopolized my time a lot more than just this When Stars Collide, just kind of randomly filling up my evenings as I'm dead to the world, was something totally different that I have not shared with you yet, because I think I hadn't decided to do it or hadn't kind of figured out exactly what I was going to do. I actually think I changed my mind a couple times. I actually started stitching something and I did not like the way it was turning out, so I had to switch gears and do something totally different. So what I did, and I've showed you the pattern that I was working on with this, the full pattern. What I decided to do was take this, and I tweaked a little bit at this end. It's a little bit different, but took this whole thing, so it's a pretty good size, you're gonna see. And I made myself a nameplate for StitchCon, because I heard people were asking, do I need to have something on the table with my name on it? And they said, no, you have badges, but if you want, you can have something on the table because people can't always see your badge with your name on it. So I decided to do this. I never know where to put my head. So, as you can see, I mean, it's pretty good size. And it changes colors quite a bit. I'll let you see it really close up a little bit here. So it's a pretty good size. This is a 4.5 inch height for the total of this. So these are pretty good size. This was a pattern on the Facebook group for StitchCon. So I got that off of there, put it in. And the name part, I took inspiration from these letters. Obviously, I couldn't use the exact letters. I mean, there was an I here, but I wanted it in lowercase, so I had to change that a little bit. But everything else, I either had to tweak or kind of design myself. Now, the N, I used the exact same idea, but I had to squish it and narrow it a little bit. So it looks a little bit like this, but it's, you know, you can tell differences for sure. The W is actually, I took that in and turned it upside down, and you can see that there. I did not make the middle part of it as high. It just kind of looked funny like that. And then kind of mimicked it on the other side a little bit. The top's a little different, but other than that, that's kind of how I got my inspiration. The rest I just had to wing it and use the same kind of ideas, like putting the feet at the top and the bottom there for the letters here. I put a little bit of a mark off to the side at the top of that I. It's little things like that. So tried to mimic this as much as I could and go from there. So yeah, that is what I spent a lot of this last month on, because it did take a while and I wanted to get it done. So that is what I will be taking with me. So pretty. So pretty. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I got some happy mail. I had to remember what it is I was doing here. Happy mail. It's in its bag. I'm so sorry. I'm going to take it out. Try not to make too much noise because I don't have it sealed. There we go. That wasn't too bad. I'm trying to see. Yes, it does say on the needle minder what it is. Oh, did I look at the back? Oh, I don't think I looked at the back part of the magnet. So for the needle minder, it's the Fab 50 Stitch Along. Isn't that cool? It's wood. It's made out of wood, so it's like a laser cut. And then the back has this attached to it. I'm probably too close. Let me see if that was too close and it wasn't zooming in. Okay. And then that. So the front of it said Walt Disney World 50th anniversary, 1971 to 2021, which we were part of that celebration. We did go when they were celebrating. The back says Fab 50 Sal 2022 limited edition. So it's a beautiful little needle minder. Then it also came with some floss. My brain just went completely blank. Floss drops. Thank you. I know some people call them different. There's 4 of them, and they're Mickey head shaped. So you attach the ring here, your floss here, and it comes with this beautiful rose gold ring. So that came with it. And the main attraction, dun, 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 let me get it unfurled a little bit, is the fabric. So here is the fabric that they dyed for it. If you look at pictures of the castle and stuff, it's kind of like these colors, almost like an iridescent look to it. So this is probably why they picked this kind of coloring to dye this. So I'm very excited. As you can see, I haven't started on it. This should be pretty easy to do, and I might get started on this and not work on the When the Stars Collide so much, because it's just the border. So you got lots of border areas as well as the little square borders inside of the main border to where the characters will go. So we have the border pattern portion of it right now. We do not have the character patterns yet. Those start coming in June, kind of the first third of June, somewhere like maybe the 9th or something like that. that's when the patterns start coming, and they're going to come fast and furious. So it would be nice to have this done, but at least the border part done. But I don't think it's going to happen by then. I've got other things to do, too many things going on to think that that's going to happen. No. So yeah, we'll we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Don't forget that coffee break. Every once in a while you gotta take a little sip because talking requires it. Okay, I've got a couple of little things I'm going to update you on. One of them is, and if you follow me on Instagram and you watched the stories or reels or whatever they're calling them now, you kind of heard about this. So yeah, you might already know. My mother-in-law, I've talked about her several times. She was moved to, she was living in assisted living. She was in a studio apartment, but it was a really nice, big, roomy one. A couple of things happened. She ran out of money, and in Oregon, when you run out of money, Medicare, Medicaid, it's kind of the same thing. I don't know. They've interchanged the names a lot of times. They will take over paying for your living, so rent and stuff like that. Now, it has to be approved. There's a huge process. I've done so much paperwork, whether I tried to do it online or had to go in the office or whatever. I've had 2 separate interviews, and I'm still not done getting this finished and finalized. I don't know how much they would pay if you had somebody in that position who lived at home. She actually lives in a facility, and that particular facility will take Medicaid, Medicare, whichever way you want to call it. And so because of that, she gets to stay. She gets to stay in that facility. Now, she isn't going to stay in her studio apartment for the assisted living anymore. We did move her over to memory care. She does have memory issues. She still knows who we are, and she can talk, but she just doesn't talk a lot. Very, very little most of the time. I think we're really, really grateful she still knows who we are, so that's great. But the room that she is now in is basically a bedroom. It's a bedroom size. She has a bed. She's got a chair. She's got, we're using a dresser. It could have been a long table or whatever. And she's got an enormous TV that sits on it. And that's about it. She's got a closet. So that's her own personal room. And it's kind of fun because they have Dutch doors on the bedrooms. So if they want to, they can have the top portion open and the bottom portion closed. And it usually prevents other people who may be wandering around from coming into that bedroom part. So 2 people will have their little separate bedrooms. And then right outside of that, they'll have a shared little sitting area, I guess. I don't know how many people really sit in there. There's some chairs in there, but I don't think, maybe family could come in there because there's not a lot of room in the bedroom to sit with her, but I don't know. I don't know how often they get used. But right off of that little sitting area is the bathroom, and they do share that. And it's always the same gender who are sharing those bathrooms. So her and the bedroom next to her that share that little entry sitting area are both female, and so they share that bathroom. It's a very nice facility. We've looked at others, and it actually was the one I had worked at when I was a server. So it's really nice, especially considering what other facilities are out there. But she was very, very upset. I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, if what you heard sounded like a tornado siren, that's for our fire department. It's a stupid siren for our fire department. I've mentioned this before. There's no need. They don't need that thing. They all get called on their phones if they're needed. It's very loud, and it's not that far away from our house, like a block or so. So it's very loud. So anyway, she's living there now in that memory care unit. But because she had to be moved over there, we had to move probably 90% of her things out of the studio apartment. She changed the bed size. She had like a queen bed, I think, and she's now in a twin, which is all she needs. It's not like we're depriving her of a larger bed. She can't move around really hardly physically. And so when she's in bed, she's in bed. She's not going to move. So we had to get that out of her, the queen out. She had a giant hutch that just displayed beautiful things that she'd collected over the years. She had a rocking chair. She had just a variety of things, and we had to move all of that out. And where did it go? It went into my house. We had stuff everywhere. So that was another thing that took up part of my time. So not only did we have to physically move it, but then I had to figure out what I was going to do with it. Now, our little town, this is the second year that they've done this. In May, they do a whole bunch of stuff. So some of that stuff they've done before, years and years before. Some of it's new. It's only been its second year. And so the second week, I think it comes out to be either second week in May, they had a citywide garage sale. And what that means is if you wanted to be part of this, you contacted the city and said, yes, I want to be part of this, include my address in the list. And they actually had a map made too. So I had heard from people that I saw that there was like, they couldn't remember for sure if it was 25, 29 people who were part of this. So that was a really big number because our town isn't that big. We have about 2,500 people that actually live here. So that's a pretty good amount of houses that are doing a garage sale. And so because I knew that was coming up, I thought this is a good time to get rid of some things of hers. And so that took a while. If you've ever done a garage sale, not only do you have to find all the things you need, you have to make sure they look all right. You have to be able to display them for people to look at. You have to put price tags on everything, unless you choose not to do that. And I kept watching the forecasts because I wanted to know, it's May for crying out loud. What is it going to do? And when I first started watching, which was pretty far in advance, it was like, oh, good. That weekend looks like it's actually going to be dry. It looks like maybe 2 or 3 days before that it's going to rain, but yeah, it's going to be dry. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, and then I kept watching the forecast each day, and it got worse and worse. And so it was going to be raining. It was going to be raining on Saturday. And then sometimes it was showing Friday and Sunday as raining. Sometimes, the forecast changed. Long story short, I decided just to have majority of the garage sale in my house. So I put a sign out at the very front saying to come inside. Come inside. So I set things up in my living room and in my dining room. Like our kitchen and dining room all flow into one. So I was mainly staying within the dining room area. And then once you start setting up tables and whatever else you're going to be putting stuff on, that doesn't leave a lot of room for people to walk. So thankfully it turned out fine. But I'm glad I was able to do it inside because it gave me the whole week before that to start getting things set up and be ready, because otherwise it would have been a nightmare trying to haul all that stuff outside that day. As it is, I had my son come over. He's very kind. And he helped me because my husband is not able to help lift really heavy things. And that hutch is in 2 parts, and I wanted to put it back together so people could see it, as well as get some things out of the shed and little heavier things and just move things around. So he was kind enough to come out here early in the morning and be able to do that. But yeah, that helped get rid of quite a few things. But it is what it is. The first day, she was very, very upset. We did not tell her it was memory care. We just told her that she had run out of money. And once you do run out of money for Medicare, even though they'll let you stay in the same facility, you usually get moved to a smaller studio. So it's not quite as big as the one she had been living in. So we just told her she was going to have to move to a smaller room because we know, and she knew because we said, remember we talked about at some point you would run out of money. Well, the day has come. So we told her that. Based on what other people told us, they probably said that she probably did figure out it was memory care. And she was extremely emotional that day because we were in and out moving things and whatnot. And then they had a meal. And so we left and went and had our meal. And so a couple times we came back and the caregivers or somebody would tell us she's really upset, she's in there crying. Or we came back from dinner and she wasn't crying, but as soon as she saw her son, she started crying. That day was really rough. After that, she seemed to be much better whenever we would come and see her. So I think she's doing much better now, kind of settling in. She's, and I know this from working there in the past, that they tend to try to keep them more involved in things. So with assisted living and whatnot, they have a calendar of activities of things that are going on, and you can choose to do them or not do them. If you do want to do them, you're supposed to sign up on a sheet, especially if they're going to be leaving to go somewhere. But it's kind of up to them to come do stuff or sign up for stuff. In memory care, they will try to ask people, do you want to come and be part of this? And they will try to really encourage them to be parts of the activities. And so we're seeing that a little bit more. She seems to be, in its simple things like just watching a movie with everybody, or they're out doing some activity sheets, like whether it's just coloring sheets or I'm trying to remember some of the other things I've done. Sometimes I'll do like physical things, like everybody sitting in a chair or a wheelchair, depending on what they're in, and they might do like a balloon volleyball type of thing. So they're just batting the balloon between each other in this circle. So they really, really try and keep them active and being involved, which she was not doing quite that over in the assisted living side. So that's kind of nice. I think that's gonna be good for her. So anyway, there's my story of other things that I have been doing this last month. All right, let's get into some bags, and then there'll be one other thing at the end that I want to kind of show you and talk to you about. It's drink time again. All righty. I think I have 4, let me count them, 4 bags. So not a lot, and I told you I'm trying to be cutting back on the number of bags because it just became so overwhelming to try and do 9 or 8 bags or whatever. So I don't have quite as many, which is just fine because you can always look at my older ones on my site to see, oh yeah, I really like that, and the new one. And now I have a couple I can get at the same time, if that's what you choose. Because I know some people are like, you can't just send one thing in the mail at a time. It's got to have a body. So, first one, this lovely little girl. So, most of these, well, I think I'll do the individual measurements as we get to them. I'm going to show you up close what some of these things look like. Trying to not have glare be a problem. And then there's the fob for this one. This is a 7x9, so it's a smaller one. I mentioned this in the past too. I try to make smaller ones to show you, and that way I leave more of the fabric for bigger sizes if more people want bigger sizes or if lots and lots of people want small sizes. I haven't cut up the fabric to make a big one. So there's bag number 1. Here is number 2. We're kind of getting into this season. If you've noticed, I got my little beach cross stitch thing back there. So we're getting closer to the time where people are going to start taking their vacations. So I thought I'd do this. Very cute. All of this fabric. So you got this fabric and this all comes from the same line. So this isn't just this weird funky fabric I decided to choose. It's the same color as some of the greenish turquoise colors in here, but they actually purposely put this with this line. So there's that. And then with this one, and each one will be a slightly different thing on the bottom. This is Wanderlust, which I think goes very well with an RV. So I have a variety of different ones that I can put at the bottom there. And I would let you know which ones there were, and you could choose if this one is not available. So there's that. This is also a 7x9. And then we have another one on the go, fun beach one. I love the old RV buses. I think they're great. I don't know why. And it's got to be the old one, like the 1968s. It's got to be old. I just love them. So you got beach stuff looking here, but you also have the old changing houses, which I think is adorable. And then we've got lots of sign type things here for beach stuff. And then the zipper is this. Okay, cooperate here. It's wanting to turn on me a little bit. It's not holding still. Okay, let me get it to hold still. Oh, it's just dangling all over the place. Okay, that'll make it easier. I'll just take it off. I hope it makes it easier. Sometimes. So we've got kind of like a rock shell type of look you might see on the beach. You get your flip-flops as well as a couple beads that are the same color. So they all kind of match there. Oh, look beachy. This is, I don't know if I actually measured this. It's more like an 8x10. So it's just slightly bigger. I did that, and a lot of times I will have to do that to fussy cut in order to fit kind of the right amount of the image in. So I had to make sure the tops of the changing houses were in there, and then make sure I didn't cut all of this stuff off either. So it kind of had to make sure it was the right size. Okay, the next one was so different. The fabric, I should say. So different, and yet just so cool. I love it. So this is, it's going to seem like an odd size, but when you see what I had to do, you'll understand. It's like 13 by 15. So 15 high, 13 wide. Is that cool? What? So the top fabric has little buttons. It's got her. We'll talk about her in a minute. This is the back. Awesome as well. And yes, some of the images are upside down because they just do that with patterns so that you can switch the pattern around whichever way you want, or the fabric around. So that's the back. Now this. These, and I'm going to try and show you as much as I can of the other squares I have, because this is actually the square right here of the fabric. And then I've added the other stuff to make it, to finish it off. These are just so cool in sewing terms, which we've seen from the back. Got this. But they also have Bible references to them. So if you can see, this says Matthew 18:28 through 30. Okay, it talks about clothing the lilies, etc. So this verse you can't see as much because it's behind her part of the time, but it's the consider the lilies, and I think that's so cool because Beth Twist, Heartstring Sampler, did the consider the lilies pattern. Yes, yes. And so that's what this is in reference to, even though all of the image doesn't seem to be quite, how does this work with this? But it talks about not worrying about what you're going to wear, do all that kind of stuff. Consider the lilies, God has clothed them and whatnot. So now this is, I'm going to show you a couple things here. This is non-vinyl. So it's got this cool fabric on the inside. I was going to, and with everything going on, I just did not quite get it done, make a vinyl one as well. So basically you would see everything that you're seeing right here. It's just, it wouldn't have an inside fabric part. You would have the vinyl that would cover this portion of it. And so that would be the pocket right there. Okay. So I easily make these with the vinyl. Now, the zipper fob, I didn't put it on there because I wanted to give you guys what kind of option. So these are what I was thinking of putting with them. So you have a choice. You've got this blue, you've got this kind of brownish peachy, and a little bit of pink here. You got more white with the turquoise colors. So I'll show you what they look like on here. So they would look very nice with all of that. Okay. So you can choose which one you would want. It's super, super easy to put a clasp on there and make that the fob. But that's what I was going to do with that. Now I'm going to show you some of the other squares. This is the one I was going to make right away and with the vinyl, and I just ran out of time. So this one is the Proverbs 31. That's what that is in reference to. Now the rest I don't have cut out singly, so I will show you the best I can. And they're big squares. Some of the other things that I've made off of squares is not quite the same. So there's one, take courage. And because this is so small, Psalm 31:24, I'm going to go down because the other ones are too big. Another just oddball stuff. This is, let me see if I can find it. Sometimes they're in different spots. Oh, good grief. Oh, there we are. Hebrews 12:1. And okay, let us lay aside every weight that so easily entangles. And they put so as an S-E-W. Cute, cute, cute. Let's see a couple more. Got this. And this is based on, they're all in different spots. So it's trying to find them. John 4:14 is what that one is. Here's another one. This is very Halloween-y, which I'm very surprised that they did that. This is Psalm 34, 4-8. There's that one. I can show you the rest of these if you want to fast forward. And if you're not into the Bible stuff, I mean, it's not like super, super obvious that that's what this is. In fact, when I bought this at the store, I made the comment, oh yeah, and they've got Bible verses attached to them. And she didn't even know. She'd seen this, but she didn't even know. So there's another one. I don't think I'll find all the references for the rest of these. There's another one. Let's see if I'm getting all of this in. All right. There's another one. I don't know where I can see these from. Here's another one. We've got two more. That one's cool too. And the last one, I believe, is this. So very interesting look to them. But they're cool. They're just cool. I mean, I like that style, so that could tell you why I think they're cool, but yeah. I love them. They're great. Okay, so I think that is, I'm looking at my notes down here. I think that's it, except for I was going to talk to you about StitchCon. Oh, no, there was one other thing. So we'll talk about StitchCon real quick, and then we'll go to that. So yeah, I'm going to Weekend Day. That is, I believe it's either the 8th or 9th of June. So I will be going to that. But first, before that, I leave, because I think that's a Thursday, on the Saturday before. I'm going to fly into Grand Rapids, Michigan for a couple reasons. I get to see Jody from Jody's Creative Corner, and her and I on Sunday night are going to go to a concert that is in Grand Rapids. It is for a group called Home Free. If you have not heard of them, you need to go listen to them. They are awesome. It's a 5 guys. They're a cappella. The one of the band members, so they got two, they might define their voices a little bit differently. 2 tenors, 2 basses. They're awesome. And so the one guy, to make up the 5th guy, he is the percussionist. So he makes all of the, well, not all, but he makes a lot of the instrument sounds. And he's amazing. He's actually, I don't know what years, but he was world champ 2 years for that kind of stuff. So he is amazing. One of the bass singers, Tim Faust, has the most incredible deep voice ever. And not only that, but he has a 5-octave range, so he can be a tenor, and he sounds good at a tenor as well. He sounds good, and his voice is so low if he chooses to sing that low, or the part calls for it. So he's amazing. So go check them out if you have never heard of them or you haven't listened to any of their songs. They're great. And if you get one that you don't like, find another song to make sure you didn't just get a fluke that was not that great. I can suggest a couple. I really like listening to Man of Constant Sorrow. When you see reaction videos, a lot of times they're showing that particular song. But they've got good ones. Hillbilly Bone is fun to listen to. There's also, just so many. They've been together. They've been a band for many, many, many years. Some of their, people have changed over the years, but this core group of 5 have been together for a long, long time. So I get to take her. She didn't even know who Home Free was until I asked if she was interested in going. So I will go and see her, and we'll go to the band. I'll do a few things in Grand Rapids, and then we're going to drive, because she drove down to StitchCon last year. I don't know if she's gone more than that or not. I don't know. But she usually drives, because it's about a 5-hour drive, I think, is what she has said. So she's just going to drive instead of fly. So I will go with her, and then we will have all kinds of fun at StitchCon. This will be my first time going, so I don't know what to expect. But I've heard lots of good things. So yeah, it'll be fun. And then that will bring, by the time I get back, that will bring it to about a month since I will have done this video, and then it'll be a good time to do another one. Yeah, fun stuff coming up. Okay, so getting on to the other thing that I had wanted to talk to you about. Now, I don't know how popular these have been, and so therefore I don't know if they're going to continue keeping them or not. But I was in Michael's, and I happened to see something and just kind of squealed a little bit, and that was fabric. Now this is just Ada, so if you don't like Ada, and it's probably the stiffer one, so it's not the greatest, but it has marbling look to it. It's amazing. I couldn't believe they had it. So this is kind of like greens and blues. This one is the pink, and maybe, mostly pinks. I don't think it really has purple, but it's got the modeling in it. So cool. And yeah, it is 14 count. I wanted to have a different count, but that's all they had. And then more of a peach. So this is kind of subtle, but it does have some change to it. So awesome. So I'm actually going to give 2 of those away. Yes. I don't do a lot of giveaways. But once I saw those, I'm like, I need to share these with people. So just so you know, now it is a 15 by 18. I think that's pretty standard size when you get these kind. When I ship it, I am going to fold it up. So I'll take it out and roll it and kind of fold it into a rectangle because it will be cheaper to ship it than it will be to do it in this thing or in that kind of shape. So it will come folded. So if you don't like that, then don't put your name in the hat for these. Okay, so I have to think about what we're going to do so I know that you want one of these. I think what you're going to need to do is choose, I mean, you could choose to say that you like all three of these. That's fine. But you need to put in there, I would like the green fabric. I would like the pink fabric. I would like the orange fabric. So you need to phrase it that way. I would like blah, blah, blah. Now, if you want two of them, just, you know, I would like the blue or pink. I would like all three of the fabrics. But you need to make it clear that now you would only get one if you win, and you might want to put in a preference. So if you say, I would like all three fabrics, but I prefer, my first choice would be the blue. Okay. So phrase it that way, because that way I know when I pick winners, I will get them the fabric that they prefer the most. Yeah. So that is how I'm going to do that. I went with two because I'll keep one of them, but I'm going to let you all decide which one I end up keeping in the long run, because it'll depend on who wins as to which fabric gets sent out. So fun. And I thought about doing this maybe over the next week or so, and then sending, you know, cutting the drawing off at that point, but I haven't got time for that. I'm going to have to do this when I come back in June. So that's when I will do the drawing for it and decide who's going to get which fabric and all that kind of good stuff. So I hope that you want to do that and get your name in there, and we'll go from there. A lot of fun. Anyway, I think that's it. I have no idea how long this video was because I ended up starting and stopping it because it makes it easier for editing. But yeah, I guess we'll just say goodbye from now, and we'll see you in a month, and I'll have all the good stories to tell you about StitchCon along with everybody else. Anyway, we'll see you later. Bye.